I grew up with my dad playing Risk at home with his friends. And definitely the confrontational aspect of area control games is something that really I enjoy in board games. I enjoy the interaction with people. Usually these games force you to have multiple players. They shine when you have a higher player count, and they don't really work when you have two or sometimes even three players. So I was very curious when Bywin Games sent me this copy of Moytura, which is a two-player only game, area control strategy game. I was very curious, how can you do an area control for only two people and give me the same feeling of battling and conquering when, I'm not saying about Risk, but other area control games. And if you're curious about area control games, please check my video about the best area control game that can replace the Risk for you. And so, as soon as I receive it, I crack it, I open the rules, and here they are. Here you have the board. To set up the game, you take this big cardboard, you randomly place on the top, and then you have this card, the Tuata the Danana, or no, I don't know how to pronounce it, and you place always at the bottom. Then you select one card and you decide how to set up the game. The game comes with several of these map cards that will allow you to set up the games and increase the variability. So, for example, you take this card and then you assign a white player and a black player. If you see in the map, you have this circle over here. This indicates the four spots where the players can allocate their followers. They don't have the troops, they are called followers. And you have this token in white and you have the same token in black. White goes first. So, for example, they may pick this region over here and they will put followers over there. Then we'll go black, we'll put two followers over there, and then we'll go black again. We'll put, for example, two followers over there, and then finally white will put two followers over there. Then you see there are some towers, the forts that represent the enemies, and you're going to place one corresponding color in those regions. So in this case, you're going to have red here, yellow here, green here. Then for the enemy token, you will place this red token on the 0 track over there. You will do the same for black and white. You will place to the 0. Then you give 2 worship tokens to each of the 2 factions, and then you will populate the board with worship tokens everywhere where you see the arch, except where there are tokens already in place. Then you place the troops. The game suggests you to start with the Fomorians. So you have the greens, the red, and the yellow. But the games comes also with other enemies' troops. And you can see here they have different rules. And it's up to you how you want to play and mix and match. But as I said, the game suggests you to start with the Fomorian. The tokens you see here are double-sided, and they identify the type of creature you're gonna deal with. So let's say that we are setting up with the Fomorians. You're gonna take all the Fomorian cards. You're gonna shuffle it. You're gonna draw 5 of them to make one first stack that indicates the first era. You draw other 5 of them to make the second era, and 2 will go back to the box. Then you need to place the troops. You will place 2 troops on the corresponding fort, and then 1 troop on the adjacent area. The same thing will be done for the reds. And then you are ready to begin. The game consists of 2 eras, and each era is made of 5 rounds. Players will take turns, and then the enemies also will have a turn. So we'll go one player, play a white player, black, and then draw 1 card from the enemy deck, and the enemy activate, and then go back to white, black, enemy. We'll do that 5 times. You will score at the end of the first era. You repeat the same flow during the second era, score again. Who has the highest victory points will win. This means that also the enemy may able to win, and if that's the case, if the enemy token score mark is the highest among all 3 tokens, that means all the players loses and it is actually the game winning. During each turn, players will perform one action. They will select one of the 5 actions here. They will pay the cost associated with the action on the left. They will get the benefit associated you can see on the right, and some of them will have special placement rule for your followers, and will resolve that. And then after you place your followers, if you place followers where are worship token, you will pick them up as a free action. And if you place followers where there are enemies troops present, then will be a conflict and a battle. You are not allowed to place followers token where your opponent is, unless some of the cards over there will allow you to do so. Before we go and discuss how you place there, we just go and take a look how scoring works. Well, the scoring is essentially you see this area with different colors. The highest number of troops of one faction will gain 5 points. The second highest will get 2 victory points. In case of a tie for first, you will sum this and divide it by 2, run down, and the second player will not get, and the third player essentially will not get anything. If there's a tie for second player, both second players will divide the points over there, round down. So let's say it's the white player that starts. The white player wants to activate Dagda. Dagda has no cost right now, and it gives you 2 followers. And it said you may expand twice. The target of the first expansion may not be the origin of the second expansion. Split your new followers freely between the 2 targets. What essentially is telling you that you can expand twice. For example, I can place one here. Expanding meaning placing a follower adjacent to where I already have my tokens. So I can do this and I can do that. Usually you can expand only adjacent to your token, and you can do only once. That allows you to do twice. Once you have completed, you place the token there. You check if you have collected any worship token. In this case, you did not, and you are not fighting an enemy. So that's the end of the turn. Now Dagda goes back to the top of this row, becoming more expensive, and also the others come down, becoming cheaper. When you select an action on these 2 spots over here, you are able to upgrade. Let's say it's time for the black player. The black player can select bond, can spend 2 worship token. After selected, pays 2 worship token, he can immediately get an upgrade. Because it's of here, you see the symbol here on the right, he can put a token here to indicate that gets an upgrade for this action. So instead of getting 3 followers, the black player will actually gain 4 followers. And this benefit will be permanent. That means when bond goes down and becomes cheaper, the player will still get an extra follower. Bond in this case, it says expanding a target up to 5 spaces away from the origin. All spaces must be adjacent to the same body of water. What that means, for example, it expands 5 spaces away, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So all these areas here are adjacent to the same body of water. So bond allows you, the black player, to essentially place all 4 tokens, for example, in this area, collecting the worship token, and that is the end of the turn. After the white player and the black player have resolved their action, you draw the top card of the enemy deck. In this case, you have a Fomorians, a green one. It tells you need to have 2 units, and then expand and normally place 2 units. What does it mean, expand and normally? So if you take a look here at the green enemy, we have some lines coming out on this path. These are the roads. So normally the enemy will spread along the roads, and the card tells you will spread 2 units. In the way you do it, so you follow the road, so you place 2 units over here, and then you place 2 units over there. Some other cards will tell you less units, sometimes it's 1. Some other cards allow you to force the enemy to spawn in a random place on the board. Let's take a look how combat works. Let's say the black player finally managed to here, place these tokens over here, and when you fight battle against the enemy, you essentially cancel out each other in a 1-to-1 ratio. So one token of the enemy, one token of yours is gone, and that's how you resolve battle. When you battle, the token that you have removed from the board goes to your personal area. When you have acquired 3 enemy tokens, you can convert those 3 enemy tokens in worship. And worship is, as I said, the currency to activate stronger power. So let's say the enemy has arrived here and it spreads over here. So in this case, the green will battle black. You will remove these 2, you will remove also these 2. But because the battle was initiated by the enemy, you will not gain the 2 tokens that you have removed. That's the rule. And then after you have done this for 5 rounds, you go and check the majority in each area. Each troop counts as 1. The fourth of each enemy will count an extra 2 for the purpose of scoring. You do this for 2 eras, so for a total of 5 rounds, and who has the most points is the winner. Once again, I'm blown away by the quality of the components from Bywin Games, but most importantly, by the design. These 2 designers are fantastic. Every time I see them, I get excited. These 2 designers are brilliant minds, especially for 2-player only games. And you can see here, the rule set is extremely slim, but yet the decision and the twist and the satisfaction to have those upgrades is incredible. So already you can feel how good this game is from the rulebook, and it shines when you play. I really don't like games that have that automa. I don't like the upkeep, but in this case, I don't know if it's the pandemic type of feel that you have when you reveal the card and you see this enemy spreading is really much like pandemic, and so the upkeep is very simple and yet familiar. I don't know if it's that, but I don't mind at all. I was a little bit concerned when I read that it's an area control for 2-player, but it's actually automa playing in the game. I didn't like that when I read it, but when executed, it really shines. I like the twist that there's no confrontation between the players. It's like there's no battle, because it can be very mean and difficult to digest a game where it's just a face in a punch in the face, and sometimes it gets a little bit stale because I do a step forward, you bring me back 1 step back, because just this pull and pull between 2 players. In this case, you spread around and you cannot neglect the enemies. If you do neglect the enemies, they will crush you. They really will crush you. So fantastic little game. It plays in about 40 minutes. The rules is very easy to teach. So in less than an hour, you teach and play. This is a fantastic 2-player only area control. I cannot believe how well this is done, how sleek and smoothly placed. And this is definitely going to stay in my collection. And if you made it so far, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share with your friends. You know the drill. This is not first YouTube video, right? Thank you very much. Until next time. Ciao.